YouTube? How we doing? Pass the prop back here yet again. We're here for Thursday Night Football. I'm actually an absolute hater of this game, so I'll be talking a little baseball here at the end with a prop for you guys. But join as always, Stu. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I was hoping it'd be a little bit later in the year before we got our first dud on prime time, but it happened kind of quickly here, obviously, with the freaking Dolphins as like 13-point underdog. So, there are more fun games to talk about, obviously, and we will when we talk about the weekend slate on Friday. But yeah, solid, I guess. I've had to think about this game a lot more than I would normally want to. So, that's I guess a little bit of a bummer, but hey, I'm happy to be here talking about it. Hopefully we make some money. That's really what matters. It'll make it all worth it, obviously. And then hopefully we can answer some of your guys' questions as well.
Yeah, I really don't like this game much. Obviously, I have no bets in this game so far. But yeah, it's still another round of football, another week of football. And we have some stuff to talk about from Monday night. So we had two games. We had, I believe the Chargers was game 2. We had the Bucs and Texans. Bucs take care of business, winning by 1. After that crazy start of that game where no one could stop anyone. If the game still goes under the fucking total, I don't know how, but I believe it was 21-20 or whatever it was, and it stayed under that 42, and I think it got up to like 60. I think it was 24 points in the first 4 minutes, and then the defense decided they were going to show up.
Yeah, no, that was kind of crazy. I was super tired on Monday. I only slept a couple hours. So I watched the first half of that game and then fell asleep until like the last possession. So I actually got to see like the best part of the game, and then kind of missed it. But yeah, definitely. At least happy that the Texans lost. That's what I was rooting for. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a tough watch after the crazy stuff in the beginning, right? I mean, there was like a 2-quarter period where it was just terrible to watch, punt after punt. And yeah, we end up getting the Chargers as well, going to Vegas, and Gino turned the hell over. 3 turnovers in that game, 3 picks. Chargers defense looks legit, man. That is a good secondary. I mean, Derwin James, I think, pretty much made everything happen in that back end there. Obviously, Khalil Mack out for a couple of weeks as well on top of it. So Derwin James pretty much kind of wrecked it. A couple of those plays, I'm like, I don't even know how he made them, right? In that last pick that kind of could have cut it to a 1-score game. That was, sometimes like the best players make big plays in those types of moments, and that's how you kind of get those, you get to that status. So, but yeah, that was that interception that he tipped up to his teammate was pretty wild, man. It was a pretty cool play to watch. So anything about that game that you want to talk about at all?
Yeah, no, I'm glad I woke back up. I was well rested for this one, and it was a good game. I was fired up, obviously. Like you said, Chargers defense probably the biggest impressive unit in that game. In my write-up for it, I wrote they're not the most talented team in the world, but schematically they're super strong. And man, I just felt like that was on full display. Once again, Hart, those corners, they're not high-end corners. Derwin James is a high-end player. Khalil Mack, who got hurt, is a high-end player. That is it. This is not, even your Packers with all those, pieces. This is a less talented team, but what they lack in talent, they clearly make up for in discipline and coaching because, man, they were on it. You couldn't beat them underneath. That's the game plan. It's you got to beat a too high shell team like that underneath. And they were just gang tackling. They were aggressive. The corners were jumping everything because they knew it was going to be short. And then when Gino did let it rip, it was turnover city because they've got those safeties sitting back there and just waiting for you. And I love Gino, but I knew it was going to happen. Gino can't just sit back and dink and dunk. He actually can't. It's not in his blood. When you look at tight window throw rate and stats like that, he's always in the top 10. He's always going to try to make something happen. And the Chargers took advantage of that. I feel like they kind of baited him a little bit and he let it fly, and they got some good interceptions. Like you said, that tip play was pretty crazy. And yeah, it was just a good game overall. Very entertaining.
Let's talk our bets here. I believe you had one in the early one. I had one in the late one. And we'll take a look at those.
Yeah, unfortunate with Stroud right here. Just it seemed like they couldn't sustain drives, which I kind of expected a little bit. But then when their production did come, it was deep shots. It was all like a lot of big plays. That early Nico Collins catch, that just explosive plays, and not really those kind of short yardage completions. So unfortunate here. Annoying. I had his rush yards too, so that was at least nice to go over on that one right there. But yeah, he just didn't pass enough, and I doubled down on Schultz too. I got greedy. It would have been a 3-in-1 day for me, but I played Schultz 3.5 catches last minute as well, and should have easily went over that one, but unfortunately ended at 3 there. So yeah, passing attack for the Texans did not go that well. I should have just done Chubb unders, even with all things considered. He still snuck under there, but I still kind of like this read right here. I felt like I kind of nailed the game pretty well, just didn't get the right prop here, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, and I had Baker and Gino, my two boys that took over pass attempts just because I knew they were going to chuck it. And I think Gino went over 40. I think he's at like 42, 43 pass attempts. The issue was it was like a 4 yards per attempt, right? So they weren't being able to push the ball down the field at all. They had like a 17-play drive that only went 60 yards, I think, and it was like 9 minutes. And it's like, dude, we gotta move, bro, right? And Pete Carroll was just,
well, that field goal, that was brutal. You go 12 minutes, however long it fucking was.
No, that was the one. That was 16 plays.
Yeah. And then you kick a field goal. Like, what are we doing here? I get you're 4th and 10, something like that.
And I think that cut it to that 11 mark. But the thing was they got the ball back, they had the chance, and then they threw the pick in the end zone, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that's a 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 10, throws an incompletion there. You're down to a 1-score game, and then that game changes significantly. So, I was happy with obviously hitting the bet. Just wish Gino would have had a better showing in prime time. But tough defense, right? It was a very tough defense there. So we're 6-6, 0.7 units through 2 weeks. And we head into this Wednesday Wednesday show, but a Thursday slate. I don't know if we could ask for a worse game in this spot, honestly. You have the Dolphins traveling to the Bills. The Bills are now ballooned up to -12.5.
Yeah,
-12.5. Over under pretty healthy at 49. 49.5 right now. Stu, I mean, I'm gonna probably kick most of this to you in this one because I looked at it. I looked at the board. I looked at my usual culprits. I don't really like much here, Stu. So I'm gonna be kind of pushing this your way. What are your thoughts here on this one? Is the spread getting too high? I know there was a couple Bills guys ruled out, but anything you want to talk about here before we get into your bet?
Yeah, I mean, the question I feel like you kind of got to look at when you're looking at the spread here is what is that number that you plug your nose and bet the Dolphins at, right? Because I feel like that's kind of the only way you can think about it. Like, sure, Bills are live to kick anyone's ass by 14 points. They just did it, obviously, against the Jets last week, although even I would argue most people might disagree. And I like the Jets more than the Dolphins, but the Jets are an easier team to blow out because if you knock them off of their plan A game plan, which is running the ball, they can't pass the ball. So you just instantly kill them if you go up by 2 scores. And the Dolphins theoretically shouldn't be like that because theoretically they do have a lot of talent on this team. The real question is just, can they do that without falling apart? Because, man, how many times have I bet the Dolphins or watched the Dolphins where I have 2 completions or something like that? And guess what? They're 10-point underdogs against a good team like the Bills or the Chiefs. And he's got 8 at halftime and it's the perfect game script. And you're just like, okay, we just need to dink and dunk. That's what you do. You get the ball out quickly. And how many times have you just seen it absolutely fall apart, whether it's a turnover? It's same thing with Gino. You're going to see a lot of too high shells. You're going to see them try to force you to dink and dunk. When you're down by a lot, you're going to get that temptation to force the ball down the field. And that's when those turnovers come. And we know Tua struggles, not only with interceptions, with fumbles too. The guy has just been kind of a walking turnover. So it's theoretically, the Dolphins do have a lot of upside to backdoor spread. If they fall down quickly, if they're in a trailing game script, you got a chain, you got Waddle, you got Hill. Theoretically, this unit should be able to stay within 2 scores of almost any team in football. It's just the execution has been really bad so far this year. Obviously, in that first game against the Colts, it was embarrassing. Last week, they looked a little bit better, but still, they looked better in offense, but the same offensive line, the same defensive concerns were still there. Like, I don't see a team like this staying very competitive with the Bills. So, I don't know. If I had to pick, I guess – man, I don't know. One of the four, maybe the over, just because I think the Bills can score, right? I can see the Bills getting to 30 points in this game pretty easily. So it's like, can the Dolphins do enough to keep it up? Can they keep it competitive? Like, maybe. I don't know what the answer is to that, honestly, because it's just – if this wasn't a team that I hated so much coming into the year, maybe I'd be able to see the regression more. But you guys got to realize the tea leaves were here. Like, McDaniels was already leading the league and first coach to be fired. Hill had the weird chemistry drama going on. Like, this team was not built for success. They were signing corners off the freaking waiver wire a week before the season started. Like, all of this was kind of not like obvious, because that's a stretch, but it was there. The tea leaves were there. So I'm just not a Dolphins believer, and I don't think I can get there. I think what I said in my previews, I think like 14 and a half is when you then go, okay, fine, that's good enough, I guess, where they can keep this game close. But until then, it's just, what's my motivation to back the Dolphins? Like, McDaniel is probably coaching for his life. I would say if they lose by what the spread indicates they're going to lose by, 12 points, something like that, there's a good chance Mike McDaniel is an offensive coordinator or special assistant for the 49ers within the next 2 weeks. So I would just say that's, what you're looking for. You're hoping to capture some Dolphins offensive upside. Even if they are good on offense, what team is able to beat the Bills in a boat race like that? Like, nobody. You know what I mean? So I don't see it. I'm not a fan, but I hope the Dolphins can keep it competitive, because I will probably be watching this game,
Yeah, no, it's still an NFL game. It's still something to have some money on there. I mean, honestly, I'm probably going to be looking more towards the defensive market again in this type of game. But even then, it's tough to do that, because I mean, you could see the Bills on the field for 40 minutes offensively in this game. You could just see that type of game script. So obviously looking more towards that side, but obviously there's nothing really listed. And if they are, they're very limited with the injuries and the notice that happened this morning. So that's obviously another thing that you get on top of it, with a couple guys sitting out as well. Yeah, it's kind of a weird show today. It's going to go a little bit quicker, obviously, because I wish I could give you a little bit more. But honestly, I'd probably lean towards that under 49.5, even though I think the Bills can probably put up 30 on their own. I looked at it. It's 77 degrees in Buffalo tomorrow. So, I mean, it's not like it's one of those games that is like that honestly might help the Dolphins, honestly, because that's hot. That's hot. So, yeah, so I will actually kick it to you, Stu. Stu has actually given us a long shot today as his bet because we don't want to play any of these straight bets, at least yet, unless some stuff moves around a little bit here. So I'll kick it over to you, Stu, to talk some spots here and a guy that we've seen a little bit last year, and hopefully we'll cash in a nice plus money spot here today.
Yeah, I'm talking about my boy Ray Davis because, like you said, I don't really have any straight bets in this game. And honestly, I don't like this game either. I feel like you and me are in the same boat here. But obviously, I do like, breaking down these games. I think it's important to still rewatch teams even when they suck and stuff like that. And so, I wanted to dive into it. And the more I did, I felt like this was the one that stuck out to me the most. And I'm a big Ray Davis fan, so there's probably a little bit of bias there. He's been like a highly owned best ball guy. He was his rookie year for me when James Cook was a little less proven. Now that James Cook is pretty proven, I'm still not like the biggest James Cook guy in the world, but he's clearly he's good at his job. He does it well, and they're not going to replace him with Ray Davis like I'd hoped in his rookie season, So we kind of know what Ray Davis is. He's more of the bruiser. He's not the 1A, but he'll be kind of the 1B. Just like we saw with the Chargers and how Najee Harris was kind of like the battering ram a little bit later in the game. I think Davis probably has that role a little bit more. And we actually saw it. I mean, if you're expecting this game to go like the spread indicates, it's expected to be not quite a blowout, but a trailing game script the whole time you're leading. James Cook just touched the ball 22 times last week against the Jets, and now you got a short week I don't know if they're going to be like in a rush to do that again. Like even a good James Cook day where he gets, 15 carries on the ground, 14, maybe catches 1 or 2 balls. Like I think they're more likely to get some of these other guys involved when it's just naturally a shorter week. You're probably going to be leading. There's not as much pressure on every single carry that you need to be out there. You can get a guy like Ray Davis some looks. And I think that's where we've seen him shine in the past in these kind of more blowout-oriented game scripts. But also, Buffalo trusts these guys like in fairly close games. Like Davis and their pass-catching back, what's his name? Ty Johnson. I was going to say Trey Johnson. Ty Johnson.
It's close. It's close. We'll give it to you.
It was. But I did that thing where it's like, I know it's wrong, and I don't want to say that out loud, But yeah, Ty Johnson, they use him too. Like that's – people don't want to admit it. Ty Johnson is a threat to this bet as well here. Like I think Johnson probably gets 2 carries, 1 to 2. He's mostly a pass catching guy, but he'll be out there as well. Like they use this rotation even in closer games. So I don't think you're like only betting on the blowout, but it's likely in a close game, Davis gets 3-4 carries. You're going to need a big run. But if, once again, we have a 12.5-point spread for a reason, right? We saw the blowout last week. Like, if Davis gets what he got last week, which is 9 carries, then yeah, 10 out of 10 times I'm going to take this bet for plus 300. And last week he wasn't very efficient. He only had 2.7 yards per carry on those 9 carries. It wasn't a great outing, but I think that's the reason why we're getting plus 300, not plus 190. Because obviously if he was efficient last week, if he did put up 4 yards per carry, then he'd be at 36, and this number would probably be a lot worse. So I think we got a good opportunity here. I think if you watched this before, then you probably know some of the other markets I like would be like last touchdown. Because once again, the game script, the script we're painting right here, right, is that they do go ahead early. They are winning like the spread indicates, and that's when they lean a little bit more heavy into the run game. So sure, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, they can get your first touchdown. If we're passing all over the shitty Dolphins secondary, then yeah. But last touchdown, when you're not really passing the ball as much, you're just kind of handing it off. If it's a big blowout, maybe it's even freaking Mitch Trubisky handing it off to Ray Davis, then yeah, like you're going to look like plus 600, if that's the game script we get, and you're getting it at 20-1 for last touchdown. So I think those kind of angles are going to be good just because we're going with the game script that the Bills do what we think they are going to do, and they take care of business and they run the ball. And we got to remember the Bills last week had so far this year, 4th lowest pass rate over expectation. This lines up with last year as well, where they were a bottom 10 pass rate over expectation team. We see all those highlight throws. We see that Josh Allen madness. This is a run first team. Like all the numbers indicated, this is a run first team. So I would expect that to continue. I'd expect Cook to get the early work. But obviously, as that maybe 22 carries on a short week catches up to him, we see the Ray Davis sprinkle in, and I think we see him take care of business. He's a good running back, good contact balance, good at breaking tackles. And yeah, 350 on Fanatics. And even if your boys over at Rivers have 375, I believe, as well. So
if you get down there tomorrow, huh? If you get down there tomorrow, play that. It's a good price.
Because you're gonna be sitting here. We're gonna Thursday. You're nothing on fucking TV. Okay, I'll put the game on. You're gonna want at least your $15 on the line, even if it's something. Although I don't know if I actually want to be advocating for that kind of thing, but that's how it is. And I think Ray Davis is a good look, and I'm a big Ray Davis fan, and I think this is one of those opportunities where you have some good long shot potential. And I think his regular numbers are fair. I saw his rushing, I think on DraftKings like 24 now. Like he's already implied for 25 rushing yards, and this is on FanDuel. You only need 15, whatever more after that. Like 100%. So definitely a fan of Ray Davis. Hopefully he can prove the haters wrong, get a little last touchdown if we're being greedy here, and take care of business against the Dolphins team that I look forward to fading more in the future.
Awesome. I will be tailing you for sure there. Good price for me as well, so I'd like to see that. I'm actually going to be heading into MLB, guys. I have no bets so far in the game outside of, obviously, tailing Stu on that one. So we have a great slate today. I'm still betting baseball every day, making it a little bit different now. My prop market is starting to switch up just because – you have some teams that are out of it a little bit, or trying to hold guys in for playoffs a little bit more. Like my YouTube play of the day yesterday, Logan Gilbert gets pulled at 88 pitches, needs one more out. You're up 10-3, and they pull. Like, disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I will not get into that because that one hurt. That one just hurt because I thought we were going to roll. I thought that one was going to be easy. But for today, hoping to add on to the 44-40 record here for the show. I'll be adding in the Miami race to 5 game prop here. I really like Miami in this game. I talk about Coors Field all the time and how I hate playing it, but this one feels pretty good, and I'll go into why. So McCade Brown is throwing for Colorado. Ryan Weathers back for Miami. Ryan Weathers has the perfect matchup here coming back from his injury. You get the Rockies, the worst team in the MLB and WRC plus against left-handed pitching. You're also throwing in Coors, which for me, I always like to avoid guys who throw heavy sweeper, heavy curveball stuff. Ryan Weathers is 77% four-seam fastball changeup. I love that. That is perfect, especially when you have a guy throwing 98 average fastball velo. We're bringing in the velo. We have a good changeup against the team that is the worst against left-handed pitching, so love that. On that side, 43% whiff rate on that changeup is unbelievable. And then going into the other side, McCade Brown, he has a 2.12 whip, a 7.04 expected ERA. That is horrible, absolutely horrible. He's not missing bats, right? He has I believe it is a 13% K rate so far this year, and you have a pesky Marlins team who needs to get back at it here, man. They had a scare last night. They were up 6-0 before the rain delay. Then they give up 5 runs in the last 2 innings to make it a game and have to use higher leverage arms here. So I think that McCade Brown being a guy who has a 22%, I believe it's pull air percentage, which is horrible, bottom 10% in the MLB. That's going to be bombs today. That's going to be bombs, right? And you have a lot of right-handed power in this lineup. Obviously, I hope Xavier Edwards is back in this lineup for my bet here. I know he's been sitting out here these last couple of days, but an expected slugging on the sinker of 411, slider 655. Horrible, dude. A lot of barrels. And obviously, if we get to that bullpen, it is not a good bullpen either. My also biggest issue is there's a lot of biggest issues, but a 12.8% walk rate. He has a 1.4 K minus BB percentage, which is absolutely fucking awful. I feel very, very good about this bet. Obviously, I think that people are going to look at it and be like, Ryan Weathers hasn't thrown in a long time. He's coming back. Colorado kind of made it a game late last night as well, so they're kind of maybe have a little momentum. But you got the worst team against it. You have the pitch repertoire that you want in a matchup like this, and on top of that, you get to have a Miami team face probably one of the bottom 10 pitchers in the MLB at the moment. So I really like Miami today to get to at least 5. I know their team total is like 6.5 or something like that, 5.5, 6.5. Feel like this is the best way to play it. And if Weathers gets blown up, I do think that it's going to be kind of later into that start, like the 3rd or 4th inning. And honestly, by that point, I think Miami might already have that. So feeling good about it. Sign me up, Miami. Miami Marlins race to 5 under game props.
Yeah, Weathers is a beast, man. He's a really good pitcher. I saw him live earlier when I was at the Cubs game. He was the guy they went against. And yeah, he's, like you said, throws hard. His pitch splits are perfect for what you want in cores because they're not really as affected, like you said, like some of those other breaking pitches, some of those other breaking ball heavy guys you see tend to struggle a little bit more there. So yeah, it feels like a good matchup. You obviously have the much better pitcher on your side. And I guess the scarier part is just getting to 5 in general, but this is in cores. And like you said, it's a 6.5 team total for a reason. So I like it. I'm like back in Miami here. It's 2 kind of ugly teams, but clearly one team is way, way worse than the other. And obviously you have the way better starting pitcher on your side as well.
Yeah, just gotta shake that rust off a little bit, right? Just keep that ball in the yard for as long as you can, right? And I know that's been an issue for him throughout his career. I know he's given up 4 bombs already through 30 innings. But if we're making that, if we're going towards that, and you want to use that, you go over to McCade Brown. He has 3 bombs given up in 13 innings. So it is it's a tough sledding to be a pitcher in Coors, especially if that's your home ballpark. So let's get a quick recap in here, Stu, and we'll get the people on their way. Quick show today, just pretty lackluster. Pretty lackluster primetime game here to start the week.
Yeah, like I said, we kind of just skipped the regular prop section. I brought a long shot. We got some Ray Davis, 40 rushing yards at plus 300. Give us something to root for, something to sweat out. And like I said, if you got a couple, skip out on the Starbucks tomorrow morning, put that $4.50 on last touchdown as well. 20-1 over on MGM and 365 right now. And I think that's a pretty solid price, given he has a pretty good likelihood of at least getting the last rep for the Bills there. So give us something to sweat, give us something to root for. And yeah, we have a good Sunday slate that we'll be breaking down obviously on Friday.
Yes, sir. And I'll be on Miami race to 5 at minus 120. Going back to MLB for this one with a slate like this. But what I will give you is Monday is a phenomenal game, right? We have Detroit and Baltimore. That's a phenomenal game for our next showdown slate, which is Monday. So at least we'll have one there. 52.5 point total. Of course, I am playing Lamar Jackson this week in fantasy in my big league. Of course, I get him here. The only saving grace is I get Dak Prescott to go fucking play the Bears. Goddamn, I'm gonna have to play him because Jaden Daniels. We still have to get the news on that. Hopefully, he's feeling okay. But this would be an okay week to miss because then I can play Dak and not feel like I'm missing out because Jaden Daniels obviously has that 30-plus point upside in any game that he plays. So, Stu, anything else from you before we get out today?
Yeah, no, I mean, besides, I would start Dak over Daniels anyway. Even if Daniels does play, which I don't think he will, I don't think he's going to run that much. So I still think Dak, as a passer, you'd just probably rather take in that. But that's going to be a banger game. I'm hyped to talk about even all these backup quarterbacks this week. I feel like this is where I shine already. When we're talking about NBA, the role players, NFL, like I love the backups. I love trying to get these adjustments in. And obviously it's happening so soon. We got Tyrod Taylor, we got Marcus Mariota, we got a run of all these backup quarterbacks coming in and starting. I feel like that's for some a red flag, but for me, that's just an invitation to get a little bit more creative. So pumped for that, excited to talk about it. And yeah, if you do have any questions for this game or for tonight, your MLB, drop them in the comments as well. And we'll obviously get to those, as soon as possible.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like Stu said, check out the chat. Drop them in there if you have any questions, comments, concerns. My bet, I believe, is not for a few more hours yet. So you have some time to go lock that one in. Obviously, Stu's is tomorrow on the game slate. So I also put this out there. If you don't know if you're going to be in here live, you can drop the comment on a past video too, like ahead of time, because I know sometimes people don't want to comment in it before the show starts. But if you don't want to do that, you can always drop it in the video before. I get notifications on all of them, so we'll see everything that you guys post in there. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you on Friday live for a pretty fun slate to break down. So have a good one, guys. Best of luck, and we will catch you on Friday.